Howdy, it's me, Pez Flips, and I realized that I didn't actually include an introduction video to this whole thing, so that's what I'm doing right now. So I will kind of discuss the materials I use throughout the video, but we'll start with their sanding process, and then I do an update, talk to you guys about what grit I use, like the different stages, and then when I get out to my backyard, you'll see me showing you guys off everything that I have, all the materials that I use for this process. But anyways, let's just get into the video, and we'll start with deconstruction and sanding. Okay, so I got these guys disassembled, and I have the hardware over here on the corresponding side of the bushings. I just sandwiched the bushings in as if it was already constructed, and I made sure that they were in the same spot so that I knew which one was going to be where. For the sandpaper, I did cut out a little bit, and I got it in a bowl here, and they say to soak it from 15 minutes to overnight. I'm just going to let it stay in here for a little bit, maybe about like 5 more minutes, and then I'm going to start sanding away at this guy. They basically say that as you're sanding, it will dry up. Just periodically wet it over and over to make sure that you aren't dry sanding, and the benefit of that wet sanding being that the particulates that are coming up, instead of getting locked in the sandpaper, they're gonna run off, and you'll see like this black slurry that will build up on here from that material, as well as the sandpaper falling off too, and that should just be wiped away, and then you can just repeat the sanding process. Okay guys, update. We have our final polish here. I didn't actually use like a polishing agent, but I got up to 3,000 grit, and I wet sanded this all the way down. Both of these guys, I finished them off. Here, let me turn up my... I finished the sanding on both of these guys. I couldn't get it as super shiny as I wanted to, but you can see that it's reflecting quite a bit. The grit from the milling lines are still there, but they kind of faded. So maybe I was going a little too crazy with the lower grit, but you'll see that there's some places that are a bit more rougher that I wish the polish kind of went through. But I think this being a channel, titanium made it a lot more annoying to sand, and especially with all these cutouts, it's an especially difficult task to do. But I mean, you can see that glimmer here, that shine, and I'm really happy with that. I'm curious to see how this is going to show up, but I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little nervous to take these guys and go through the process, because you know, once that happens, that's kind of it. So I went from 400 to 600 to 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. So this is from 3,000, and I'm going to take the remaining stuff that I have here over to my actual place. So I have a backyard. You don't want to do this stuff inside. You want to have a well ventilated area, or just, you know, outside, right? So we're gonna use acetone to get the fingerprints off of this guy, heat it up, and put some etchant on it, and yeah, I'll meet you there. Okay guys, so this is the prep work I've done. I got gloves on. I have my titanium wire hooked up to the actual handles that have been sanded. I have just water here to quench at the end, paper towel to dry some stuff off when I need to. I have more paper towel alongside acetone, 100% acetone, that I'm going to use on this paper towel to run that over this before I'll heat it up. And then I have my ferrochloride acid that I'm going to be putting into this thing, just because I'm going to be tossing that Tupperware, so if it eats away at it, it's okay. Shouldn't mess up the interaction, I don't think. I'm pretty nervous right now, I'm not going to lie. I have the torch too, first time I'll be using that. So yeah, we're gonna see how this goes, and yeah, let's hope I don't blow something up. So I just finished, came back to my house, and I did both of them. The first one, it turned out really good. I'm joking, it turned out really bad. Here's the first one. So when I looked up the video, they said that you're supposed to heat it to a temp below what you expect it to, and then put it in the etcher. And you can see that there's a tiny little bit that showed up here, but for the most part, I don't think I gave it enough heat. It just didn't really seem to grab. So the second one, I kind of had gotten the nerves out of the way, so I was feeling a bit more comfortable, and I really like the way this one came out. So here's the second one. You can see that the bottom here really came out nicely. This backside especially looks nice, and I think part of that is that the texture here is a bit better. Obviously it doesn't have as much luster as you want it to, because I didn't quite get it to as much of a mirror polish as I could, and I'm not sure if I hit it with too much heat, which is why it's dark, but I think this handle comes out a lot better. I think it's interesting how like these center cutouts don't get the temperature as much as like these front sides, so you get more of like the copper inside color rather than the outside being like this purplish. But yeah, I'd say that this handle came out a lot better than the other one. Obviously that's the inside where I didn't do any sanding, so that's what it would look like if I hadn't finished it up, which honestly doesn't look that bad. But I think the main difference was being able to give this one a lot more heat, being more confident. Oh, you see my feet like a weird way. But like being more confident about actually heating this guy up to a temperature that's more appropriate. I found that once it started to turn blue, that's when I had to lay off. Like this is when it started to turn blue, and I just instantly laid off, whereas like I might have given it too much heat on these top sides. But you know, at the end of the day, I think this is gonna look nice because it'll be like a safe handle, bite handle kind of situation. So I'm gonna assemble these guys, and I'll show you what it looks like once I have it all put together. Ready? Here she is. This is my customized hand, sort of entropic anodization, sort of, Zengetsu. Just assembled it, and it still sounds great. I will say that you can tell on the sides here that because I've sanded it down to a smoother finish, that it does lose a little bit of grip, but that's okay, right? This is my beauty flipper, and this guy, it's really cool to have something that looks like this that I made. Like, I know I didn't like mill out the handles and like do any of that stuff, but in terms of the actual like customization, I think this is really cool. I also have to add that the screw heads here especially go well. I think they help to balance out some of the weight here. Like if I did a hot spot on this one as well, I think that would look really nice. Like if it was a gold to a blue transition, I think that would come out a lot better than this more experimental, you know, my first time anodizing. But yeah, you know, at the end of the day, it's a learning experience, and I'm happy that I did it, even if it was pretty nerve-wracking. You know, you're handling chemicals and whatnot, and heat, and you know, you have an expensive knife that you've spent real money on. Sounds like the screw's getting a little loose, but you know, you want it to turn out well, and it's not perfect, but I can say that it's mine, so I'm happy with that part about it, at least. I'll probably do a more updated thought on this later, but this is more of just like the finished process of having my own customized hand anodized titanium knife. You know, I definitely think that there is a more personal connection now to this knife than there was before. You know, I liked it, and it had a lot of attitude, a lot of character, and I think now it just speaks more to me, myself, because I have spent the time working on it. So, yeah, this was an interesting process, and I would say that, you know, if you have the time over the summer to do something like this, Honestly, like, the most time-consuming part is just sanding, and I did that, like, in front of a show, so just sand it down, use a couple of different grits, and the wet sand, obviously, like I said, is the way to go. Once you get to the polish, right, that's where you're gonna make your ano. So if you have good polish, ano's gonna pop. Not so good, it's gonna be more muted, but that's okay, right? But yeah, it's been Pez Flips, guys. I'm gonna try to hit a clip with this guy in another video, maybe a shorts, but I just need to lay down. I'm tired, man. But thanks for watching, and I hope you guys have an excellent day. Bye.